Hello again, everybody. Time for us to have a look at our book. Yes, it's called The Woman Next Door. And it tells the story of Hortensia and Marion, next door neighbours. Bougainvillea-laden Cape Town suburbs is the backdrop. Now, one is black and one is white. Both are widows in their 80s and sworn enemies, no less. But one day, an unforeseen event forces the women together. Could long-held mutual dislike transform into friendship, or is it too late? Now, to talk to us in studio about this is the author of The Woman Next Door, Yewande Omotoso. A very good morning to you.
Morning. Great to be here.
Is this book a kind of microcosm of what is happening in South Africa and what the possibilities are?
I like to think that all fiction is kind of microcosm. You know, it's fiction ought to contain elements of what's actually going on. So yes, in a way, I think it is. It's also a very specific story, though, about these two women.
Yeah, no, it's a very intimate story.
Yeah.
But without giving much away, unforeseen events forcing them to change the way they think. Tell us about that.
Yes, okay. Well, so without giving much away, what happens is the story is really about what I call their hateship. These two women are neighbors. There's this real enmity between them. And at some point in the story, Hortensia needs Marion's help. And so two people who've hated each other suddenly need one another. And so that's sort of the spindle that the story is set around. And
the beautiful thing about that is that we kind of all live in that world, don't we? Communities or neighborhoods. You use neighbors. Neighborhoods are separated by the small differences, not by the things that make us the same. And when these kind of unforeseen events happen, only then do we see that we have much more in common than the things that separate us.
I think that's true, and I think there's also a way in which, particularly these two women, are so isolated. Hortensia has no children, and Marion's children are kind of very estranged from her. So there's a way in which we live, often in the city, in urban settings, or suburban settings, like the story is, where we're very isolated. So again, this thing of needing your neighbor in a time when we just sort of exist as our own governments in a way, under, behind our walls and our electric fences.
The race dynamic in this book, were you comfortable with it?
I think I wouldn't have been able to write it if I wasn't. And part of the work of writing the book was to immerse myself and understand what my material was.
You yourself, in your personal capacity, you've been nominated now for the Sunday Times Barry Wronger Fiction Prize.
Thank you.
Clap, clap.
Thank you.
Also the Bailey's Women's Prize for Fiction. That's a very prestigious prize in the UK. That must make you happy.
I was really pleased. I was longlisted for the Baileys. I didn't make the shortlist, but I was pleased to have been longlisted with some other really important novels.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. I understand that you come from a family of creatives, and this is just another process for you, isn't it?
Well, my father is a writer. I grew up with him as a writer. My brother is a filmmaker. I grew up in a home where reading and creativity and art were central. So I think it's no accident that now I write fiction. I'm also an architect. I think these are important things. I was listening to your conversation earlier and talking about art and the role of art in society. And this cannot be taken too lightly.
Yeah, and can it be underestimated? I want to talk a little bit more about that, because here in South Africa, we use art to shock politically. And we like to use the private parts of leaders in order to make those points. Well, how do you view that kind of thing as an artist yourself?
I'm somebody who believes that art should never be burdened with anything other than its own intent. So if a piece of art is out to shock, and that's what the artist wants to do, go ahead. I can't really subscribe to a time when we say art ought to be, and then you create the box. That's ridiculous, right? The very point of it is that it isn't boxed. So if that's the point of that piece of work, go ahead and do it. And we should have a society that is robust enough to receive that.
Open-minded enough is the word that comes to mind. Robust is a very nice word. Tell me quickly about your third book, Sleeping Not Dreaming. That's about to be done, isn't it?
Oh, wow. No. My heart started beating because it's still being written. I'm kind of impressed that you even have the title. It's still being written. So
I've got my ducks in a row.
Clearly, but...
I'm talking to your publisher, by the way.
Say good things. It's a story about a family. It's really about looking at family and how families fail and also how families can repair. So it's about a family that kind of splinters.
Wonderful. Because that's where South Africa needs to focus, is on repairing its families, because most of our social ills is born out of the fact that dad's not home or mum wasn't there.
Yeah. This is a unit. I mean, the family unit is this core unit from which everything else, you know, the bigger groups of society. So it's crucial.
Plays out in the rest of our society. Yewande Omotoso. This is the book, The Woman Next Door. There it is on the big screen. The Woman Next Door. It's about two angry aunties that are both in their 80s. It should be a great read. I really look forward to it. But let's not overgo. Thanks for joining us, Yewande
Thank you very much.
Omotoso.